Does anybody know where the word quiz comes from? Because we're doing a kind of quiz.
I feel like I do know, but I can't remember.
Do we get a point for that?
Yeah, Alan can have a point for that. I'm fine with that. Yeah. Because it's
So when you say it, I'm going to go... What?
OK. We don't really know. So it used to mean a sort of eccentric person. How it has come to mean asking people questions for points, we don't really know. There's a story that Richard Daly, who was a theatre proprietor in Dublin in 1791, made a bet that within 48 hours he could get a word into common parlance. And he distributed the word quiz to be put up on walls all over Dublin, and it became part of the language.
Really?
But,
when they say the police are quizzing the suspect, that's wrong, isn't it?
No, that's from inquisitive. And inquisition. So that's a separate...
You've got it. You're in the right chair. A little cold feeling then.
I think with Hook a Duck, they do that, don't they? But with the mag, I think they purposely...
In Hook a Duck?
Hook a duck. I know what you meant.
I'm foreign. Hook a duck. Oh, in the fair? At the fair?
But our vowel sounds are very similar to yours.
I
did a gig in Norway and they could understand me more than in Cheltenham.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can't fail at hook a duck.
Why?
Because kids will kick off if they don't get something.
So what do you
don't come away with nothing from anything in the fair anymore.
Because you used to get a fish in a bag and it would teach you about life and death.
Yeah. Usually very quickly.
Very quickly. But those fish, they're not dead when they're floating on the surface, necessarily.
Can you make them better?
Yeah, feed them and put them in a proper tank.
Yeah, but then they grow to fill the tank. You can get one about this big.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Goldfish in the wild are about 40 foot long.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's true, Dave. Don't just keep filling the space, mate.
No, I don't mean like they become a square fish.
I think Rex had little things like... What a sight here! I mean, you've got a bigger tank.
I want to win one of those! Are you a good sleeper now? Do you sleep well?
Yeah, I can sleep a lot, yeah.
Apparently what you should do to find out how much you need to sleep is you should spend a week not having an alarm clock at all, and you should let your body just wake up when it needs to and log how many hours, and if you need 6 hours and you need to get up at 7 a.m, then you know what time you've got to go to bed.
But sadly, you need a wee at 5.
Yes.
No matter what.
Yeah, it's very annoying. And it's not like you particularly have that much wee to do.
You get there and you think, why have you woken me up for that? I would rather have just left that in the bed. We could have just done it in the morning.
Also, sometimes, the middle of the night wee, you can start thinking about something stressful or get frightened by noises in the house. Best just to stay asleep till it gets light.
I think really the solution is some sort of an apparatus where you could sleep on the loo. My father was in hospital and he had a catheter fitted for a couple of weeks, and he said he'd never slept so well for about 50 years. It's the best thing that had ever happened to him.
It's like when you go and stay in a hotel and they say never use the kettle because people pee in it. Apparently.
No.
Yeah.
The kettle? What? No. You see, I don't want to know those things.
I mean, how far away is the bathroom?
But I always think that must be a man who pees in that kettle.
I can say, on behalf of men all over the country, we do not piss in kettles. off, you've got to unplug it.
And those lids are
It's making
spiteful.
too much effort.
I'm not making it up. It's a well-known
Wow,
fact.
so when you get to...
I wouldn't come on QI and talk bullshit. I'm straight up.
So when you go to a hotel room and there's water already in the kettle, that's
That
a
might
bit
be
suspect.
piss.
I always get rid of that.
To be honest, boiled piss is probably... I mean, it might change the flavour of the tea, but it's not a bacterial threat, is it?
Just another thing, never eat the chocolate on the pillow.
What's happened to... where's that been? Anyway, moving on. Now... 2015, they were very busy. They also discovered that giraffes hum.
For pleasure.
Well, we don't know. They recorded giraffes at 3 different zoos, and they found that they make this really deep sound. It's just within human hearing range. And they don't know if they're snoring or sleep-talking or just saying, it's all right, I'm still here, don't you worry, light will come in the morning. I don't know, they don't know what it is, but they hum at night.
Couldn't it be 3-part harmony, like the Beverly
3 degrees,
Sisters?
Beverly Sisters, yeah.
That, to me, looks like the giraffe version of going into the loos with one of your friends when she's about to vomit. And
One of the left going, don't take a picture now.
That one on the left got so drunk it tried to have sex with that tree.
She's only got one leg, but I'll have a go.
She's still here. She can't be going anywhere.
I spent part of my childhood in East Africa, and we had some neighbours who had a Mini, which they were very pleased with, and they had brought it all the way from England, this Mini. And one day they didn't come home, and everybody was very worried about them. And it turned out a giraffe had taken that rather interesting shape there and tried to hump their Mini and got stuck over the car. And they couldn't open the doors, and then the giraffe couldn't get off. It was...
Then I guess they drove it back to England and they come on. We'll knock them off in the Dartford Tunnel.
Astonishing thing. Twice a day, the tide in the bay rises 28 foot 6 inches to the point that it overtops the waterfall over which the St John River normally flows, and the river flows backwards.
Wow.
Is that amazing? Yeah.
We've learnt so much, haven't we? Oh,
You've got to be careful, though. You've got to be careful with this show what you take away from it, because you can hear people in pubs and they'll say, this happened, and you go, no, and they go, saw it on QI. Like, it's become that. But I was chatting to a friend of mine. I said, I was thinking about going to Venice. And he said, I don't do Venice, full of racists. What? It's a racist town. I said, how is it a racist town? He says, yeah. He says, all the gondoliers, they've got to be black. They have to be black. I said, I don't think that's true. He said, no, it's true, I saw it on QI. He said, honestly, I don't know how they've got past the EU with it, but every single one of them has to be black. I said, I don't think that's true. And about 3 days later, he rang me up, he went, I meant gondolas, the actual gondola. Gondola has to be black.
So here's the thing, we're going to make our own nuisance call this evening. There is a number that anybody can ring in Sweden, and it's a scheme set up by the country's tourism authority to celebrate 250 years of free speech in Sweden, and it's called Ring a Random Swede, OK? It's a genuine random thing. We have no idea who we're going to get. We've already pre-selected a question from a member of the audience, and the question is, why do you eat rotten fish?
Does anybody speak Swedish? No.
Here's the marvellous thing about Scandinavians is that their English is really coming along.
OK.
So, the marvellous sound department are going to put the call through now, and I obviously will have to explain what it is that we're doing to this person.
Sweden. You will soon be connected to a random Swede somewhere in Sweden. This call may be recorded. A lot of people are calling Sweden right now.
Robin.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Sandy. I'm ringing from London. Who's that?
This is Robin in South Sweden.
Robin! Oh, hi. You're my random Swede that I'm ringing.
Yeah.
Is it your first phone call from an English person?
It's my first call overall, actually.
This is kind of exciting, Robin, because I'm ringing you from a live television studio in London. So you're on the BBC right now. Is that okay?
Yes. Fine.
Okay. So I tell you what, we'll have a round of applause from our audience. Maybe you can hear that.
Brilliant.
What do you do, Robin?
I'm shopping some groceries.
Okay. Are you actually in the shop?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a question from our audience, and you may be buying this now. What do I know? Why do Swedish people eat rotten fish? Is the question we want to ask you.
Yeah, most of us also want to know this question. So, please call back again.
It was lovely to speak to you, Robin.
Yeah, me too. Have a nice evening.
You know when people say, oh, like an old woman died in her flat and she was eaten by her cats? I mean, could be...
What world do you live in? People peeing in kettles and old women
3 days.
Yeah. You get...
3 days and your cat will eat your face.
Yeah.
Because it will have loosened up enough for it to get purchased.
Yeah.
What sort of show is this?
They never say that, do they, about, aged meat on a menu, with a 20-day aged beef. They never use the phrase, it will have loosened up enough to get purchase.
Say you took an average of every single person here in this room, and we took height and shoe size and collar size and all those things, you won't find anybody who's average in all respects. It just doesn't exist. And it's called the jaggedness principle. And it really matters. So in the 1940s, the US Air Force, they thought, I know what we'll do. We'll design a cockpit that fits absolutely everybody.
The cockpit has yet to be designed.
Yes, that is.
That will fit my proportions.
In what way?
Oh, in a plane.
In a plane.
How embarrassing. I thought you were talking about...
Yes, I tried so hard with you boys. So they took the measurements of over 4,000 pilots and they designed this cockpit seat based on these 10 different body measurements, and it didn't fit a single pilot because there isn't any such thing as normal, and in the end they had to develop the adjustable seat for aeroplanes because of the jaggedness principle. So if you take me and Richard... So, Richard, you come here just for a minute, darling,
Oh,
OK?
goodness.
So, if you wanted to
Where's the sun?
Where's the sun? If there was a jacket to be had for the average quiz show presenter...
Can I just say, I'm very proud of Sandy and her time at the school. I'm so pleased that she won the Glamour Prize. Well done.
You do know that people watching won't know who's, and I don't use the word lightly, abnormally heighted. It could be that you're 25 foot.
Yes,
we need some proportion.
Yes, that's
I'm 5'9", to give an indication.
I used to work with the brilliant Humphrey Lyttelton, and Humphrey was exactly the same height as me when he was kneeling.
I bet I am.
Should we try that?
Yeah,
OK, let's just try that. OK. Right, here we go. Oh, just about. What's the worst noise in the world? So we have some props where you can make some noises.
Oh, hello.
Let's have a look. So let's start with Nish and Alan. That's very irritating, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, stop it.
Yep. Oh. Do you remember what that is, Nish?
This is a vuvuzela.
It is a vuvuzela, yes,
which
absolutely.
ruined the 2010 World Cup.
It's a hideous noise, isn't it?
Well, luckily I have grade 7 in vuvuzela, so we're fine.
Oh, Alan. Fingers on a... That is awful.
We've got a band going, don't stop!
I've got a mirror and this cube of white stuff.
This is the most annoying sound in the world. Me on drugs. I think this is polystyrene
Yes.
and.
So the Journal of Neuro neuroscience did the top 10 most annoying sounds. Apparently, the most annoying is a knife on a bottle, but we haven't been able to work out why that is. This one we can do. This is number 2. A fork.
Oh, God.
I got the power. Oh, stop. Oh. That's very unpleasant, isn't it?
This is the older. What is worse than this is when it just goes... Doot.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And then 4 minutes later goes...
Yeah. And you can't work out which one it is. It's somewhere in the house.
The thing I love about, like, any sort of smoke alarm is that we've advanced so far technologically, and yet we still haven't got beyond the only way to solve a smoke alarm is to have a tea towel and just do that.
Now, what did Highland warriors wear at the Battle of Bannockburn?
Kilts.
No, not kilts. No. Here's a random Scandinavian fact.
Oh, OK.
The word kilt comes from the Danish word kilte, meaning tuck. So it's actually a Danish word. Used for yes, that's rather fine. But medieval Scottish warriors did not wear kilts when they went into battle. What did they wear? Anybody know?
Dungarees.
No, it was a yellow tunic.
A yellow tunic?
A yellow tunic called a lane croich.
I love the bloke on the left's got one of those umbrella hats from the fair.
Yes, they're fine, aren't they?
He's trying to knock it off. That's a stupid hat. It's not even in it!
What was weird? They used saffron to make them yellow, but if they didn't have saffron, they used to use a...
Urine.
Yes. Horse urine.
Very keen on the yellow, then.
Stench, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, urine was in all the tweeds as well, because they used to use it to fix the colours in the tweeds.
Yeah, but still, you know, can we not make it green from the grass? No, keep on pissing on it.
Yep. that horse has got the hots for the painter.
Yeah, he's looking right at him, isn't he?
Now you're getting my best side. Don't paint the twat in the umbrella hat, of course.
My mum would summon me home by whistling.
Seriously?
Yeah, and she taught me how to do it with the 2 fingers there.
Wow. That is a
Now, I could hear that 3 miles away. So, me and my brother would be playing with mates, and we'd be out all day, and then at tea time, my mum would go out the back door and go... And then we would...
That is a seriously good whistle.
We would come back...
One time, do you remember we were in Manchester?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I had to get a train.
Yeah.
And the taxi went by, and I went, "Taxi!" like that, and he ignored me, and it went about 50 yards, and he did that, and it braked. And he didn't even turn and came back.
And was the taxi driver your mum?
Now, can you describe a bearded tit?
If anyone says David Baddiel, I'm leaving.
Well, once you get past 30, it does happen.
No woman should be without tweezers.
No.
Or the skill of plaiting.
That's true. Give the children something to hang on to.
Exactly. See them on a sports bra, tie them together around the back. Bosh,
I sometimes feel when I speak to you, Ross, that I haven't thought things through.
all I'm saying is, you're welcome.
Thank you. Now, could you please do an impression of a trout faking an orgasm? Oh, Deirdre's off. Looks like you had a really bad facelift.
Well, I'm trying to be a sarcastic trout.
Sarcastic trout.
It'd be the gills. It'd be like...
Trout faking an orgasm. Is that it?
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, the river moved for me as well.
Anybody else want to show? You do a fine line in animal impersonations.
Well, I'm not sure. I feel like I'd have to move my tail. I'm sure the tail...
I don't believe anybody is stopping you. If you've just tuned in, that was Alan being a trout faking an orgasm.
The mouth open and the tail...
My husband husband makes me sleep facing away from him because I breathe too loudly.
That's quite weird, isn't it?
Well, like those two in the picture.
Oh, yeah.
When I got married, another thing I found out, that it wasn't usual to put your underwear and your socks on before you put any of your clothes on.
Well, you're supposed to put it on afterwards.
No. I
Did you marry a superhero?
I put my underwear on, and then I put my socks on, and then I put my outerwear on.
OK, and what's wrong with that?
Well, apparently it's weird to put your socks on before you put your trousers and your top on.
I think your husband is telling you that things he does are things that everyone does. It is perfectly reasonable to put your socks on before your trousers.
It's also perfectly reasonable to breathe while you're asleep. The problem in your house is he keeps pissing in the kettle.
But at least you can stand up. So for women, it's really difficult because you sort of have to hover, don't you? And I remember one time I went to the ladies and the lock didn't quite work. This is a very tricky moment for a woman because you have to sort of hover. And I'm so obsessed with not making a mess on the seat, I thought, oh, sod it, I'll just sit down. And as I sat down, the door burst open and a woman came straight in and she went, oh, I'm so sorry. And then she shut the door again and then she burst it open again and she went, you're Sally Toxby, can I... What is Britain's biggest national secret?
If we tell it, it won't be a secret anymore.
Ah, well, that is true, and that was a thing that worried people for a long, long time. So we're in London.
Right.
Was it the London Tower or something up there?
It is a tower. The tower is right, Jerry.
Is there some enormous building that isn't supposed to...
Yes, there is an enormous building that was a secret for years and years and years.
The Gherkin.
BT
Tower.
The BT Tower
the BT
is
Tower.
Exactly right. It was built in 1965. It was considered such an important part of the telecoms infrastructure that it was classified as an official secret.
Because no one can see it.
No, I know.
Oh, my God.
It was Britain's tallest building. It contained a public viewing gallery and a revolving restaurant. Nevertheless...
I went to that place once for a charity event. Yeah. And Rick Astley was singing. It's wonderful. And I went to the loo, which is in the middle. And when I came out the loo, it had revolved, and I came out right on stage next to me. I'm never going to give you up.
But the restaurant was fantastic. Did you ever go to the revolving restaurant at the top?
No, I haven't.
It was just glorious. And in 2009, BT said they were going to reopen it. And anybody who's ever had a promise from BT will know that that never happened.
You get a lot of emails saying your order's on its way.
Yes. A male black widow spider and a female black widow spider have just finished having sex. What happens next? Yeah, Ross.
Tiny cigarette.
It wouldn't be a tiny cigarette, would it? It'd be 8 tiny cigarettes.
Should we do it again?
But maybe she could try and kill him in that way rather than by eating him, which I think is the answer that we were being led towards.
Oh, she eats him. No, she does not, if she's a black widow. So there is one species in the widow group in which the female, well, let's say, routinely eats the male.
Scottish widows.
The Scottish widow. Yes, but at least she's insured. Right, speaking of ears, I'm going to play you 2 recordings, OK? One is of hot water being poured into a bowl, and one is of cold water being poured into a bowl, and I want you to tell me which is which. So here's the first one. And here is the second one. So...
Sorry, I need a wee.
What do we think the first one is? Hot or cold?
Hot.
Everybody? Hot?
Hot.
Yes, I'll go hot.
Yeah.
I thought it was the first one sounded like emptying a kettle, and the second one sounded like filling a kettle.
Oh. OK. Would you like... yeah.
The audience was taken to mocking me. Since Stephen left, they just turned. No one's taken a piss out of that idiot. It's up to us.
woman there, you said one was filmed, one was... And I think that woman went...
That was admiration. I think it was
Admiration?
Yeah.
The sound of admiration. I've never heard that before. Apologies, I'm unfamiliar.
Yeah. That's why you
The
didn't
second one
recognise
sounded
it.
kind of crisp and cold, and I wanted a drink.
Let's have one more listen. So here's the first one. Every listen. And the second one.
Can we just bear in mind, this is QI, so I've got a feeling it might be somebody pouring soup onto a horse.
I promise you, it's hot and cold water. Hands up who thinks the first one is hot. And hands up who thinks the first one is cold.
Oh, that's weird.
OK, so it is about the right percentage. 96% correctly usually identify the first one as hot. Yes. So they do make different noises because hot water is kind of slightly less sticky, is the thing of it. Molecules in it have more energy from the heat. As when hot water hits a hard surface, it breaks up into smaller particles and it makes a higher pitched splashing noise than cold water.
Oh, OK.
But now you'll know. Yeah, so that's good.
I'll be like, oh, that was hot.
Yes.
The next time you pour boiling water on yourself, you're like, is it hot? Oh, wait, the sound of it. Yes, I am. I boiled it.
OK, how would you consume the original Humpty Dumpty?
Is it that he wasn't an egg? He was something else?
Is correct, yes. It has always been a sort of a nickname, but it wasn't an egg. In fact, in the early depictions of the rhyme, he's actually depicted as a child. There he is, not looking entirely content. Some people think it might have been a story about Richard III, depicted as humpbacked in Tudor histories, and he was defeated, and despite all his king's men and horses at the Battle of Bosworth.
Oh, wasn't he gorgeous?
So when did it start becoming about an egg? Because it's an egg, isn't it?
Well, we now think of it as an egg, but the earliest citation in the OED is for a drink made with ale boiled with brandy. And
Yes,
I
please.
have some here. And I have 5 glasses.
Oh, yes. Are you sharing it out or just having a brilliant time?
Sharing it out. So here's the thing as well, the traditional...
Keep pouring!
The traditional food that is eaten at Danish Christmas is something called æbleskiver. They are a little tiny, like a pancake thing, which you have in jam, and these have been made for me by a brilliant Danish chef, Bronte Oral, who from the Scandinavian Kitchen in London, who's here in the audience. Where are you, Bronte? Give us away.
You took the jam on your head and then rubbed the pastry in.
Thank you. There we go. Oh.
It tastes medicinal.
Oh, God,
Officer.
that's horrific.
So, Humpty Dumpty was originally a mixture.
This is lovely, isn't it?
Look at all me jam!
I never had a happy childhood. I'm always happy.
It's like saying we'll get a taxi. We'll get a taxi. Let's not just get a taxi. We're so excited on our side.
Humpty Dumpty was originally a drink. Ale and brandy, and you consumed it like this. Cheers to everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh.
Cheers to the audience.